to Idle Red Hands Weekly. I'm Jeremy.
I'm Chris.
And what is Idle Red Hands Weekly? It is a virtual assistant developed by Amazon, first used in the Echo smart speakers developed by Amazon Lab 126. It is capable of voice interaction, music playback, making to-do lists, setting alarms, streaming podcasts, playing audiobooks, and providing weather, traffic, sports, and other real-time information, such as news. It can also control several smart devices using itself as a home automation system. Users are able to extend its capabilities by installing skills, adding additional functionality developed by third-party vendors.
Are we being sponsored by Amazon this episode?
And a new feature has just been added to Alexa.
Oh, really?
So if you're listening to this podcast after December 16th, I'd like you to either turn the speakers up or put your headphones against your Amazon smart speaker and Alexa, play Starfinder. And now you're playing Starfinder.
Oh, and not listening to us. Great. Yeah. So is it free then?
Well, the first one's always free.
Of course.
So starting December 16th, a voice-based version of the Starfinder role-playing game is going to be playable on Alexa as a test, and it's basically adapted from the beginner box.
Okay.
So Paizo and Amazon have big plans for this. So if this is successful, and I guess they get measurements of just about everything on an Amazon speaker, but they will continue to roll out paid episodes following this. And it sounds like they mentioned voice actor casting. So it sounds like it's going to be a choose-your-own-adventure kind of radio drama that will feature the iconic characters from the starting adventure, the...
Scoundrels of the Spire or whatever?
Yeah, well, yeah.
In the Spike.
Spike, right. Yeah, Scoundrels in the... Yeah, so that adventure included in the box. And that's interesting, I guess. I mean, that's an odd move. I remember very clearly when tabletop role-playing became very mainstream, also the choose-your-own-adventure books, became really, really popular because it was a way to kind of solo or just sit in class and pretend you're reading something.
Around when was that? Because I was born in the 80s, so around like 90s. Or before around that, I got secondhand choose your own adventure books. And I think I missed the boom. I also got Be an Intergalactic Spy, which had kind of puzzles and mazes and stuff. And those were pretty cool. So I'm guessing I missed kind of the popularity boom.
Yeah, it was the early 80s. So you were probably...
I was either born or not yet born. Yeah,
right. Yeah, and there were, book orders in school. So you're always begging your parents to, so you could end up getting the whole series of something. Right. So every month or a couple of weeks, I think those things would come out. And
Karate Master. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was nice. And they had a lot of different genres and themes, and that may have been a very good gateway to tabletop role playing because if you borrowed one of those from somebody, because some people would just die and then they just here and hand.
Well, can't read that book anymore. I died. Yeah, all right.
But just get frustrated with it. Wasn't quite as advanced as some of the Lone Wolf and some of the other books. The original Fighting Fantasy, those actually had character sheets, and you actually
looked at numbers and stuff.
Right,
and I'm very familiar with the Fighting Fantasy books. Yeah.
Right, yeah, and these were a lot of the ones that I had played, and I forget the publisher, but it is just basically a story.
Right.
And I'm guessing that's what they're going to do with Starfinder on Alexa.
That's what I would guess, too.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like an audiobook version of Choose Your Own Adventure, and, Alexa and other home devices have now proceeded to the point where if, much like the old King's Quest game on the Commodore 64 or whatever, when you say whatever optional, I guess, command, I'm sure it's going to go to that page, essentially, for you. And if you say it wrong, I'll get the incorrect input and just quit the game out of frustration because it sucks. But,
right.
At least what I did with all those, when it was Zork for me, a secondhand copy of Zork, and I was like, no, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. And I'm like, I don't know what command to put in, so I'm done with this game. Another thing that was the first input screen. But anyway, as to why Amazon would do this, my initial reaction is Critical Role is massively popular, and I am going to bet you that other companies are looking to get in on kind of stuff from whatever ground floor they kind of can.
I think this is a good entryway for Paizo and people that might not have even know what is Starfinder. That's not D&D. And
it is D&D.
Well, yeah, and then they look about, it is. But
or they go, it's not D&D at all. It's Starfinder. Yeah, anyway.
The thing that I was wondering is, I guess if you're a kid in your bedroom, like a tween in your bedroom, and you have one of those speakers,
you're not going to be playing audio Starfinder.
Yeah, right. But it's illegal. That would be illegal for them to gather data on you anyhow. But that would be the only situation where I could see you playing this. If you've got one of those speakers, as a home automation system in your living room or whatever, when are you going to say, Alexa, play Starfinder, and not have your wife say, Alexa, hire divorce? Sorry.
I wasn't going there. I was thinking I was trying to listen to music or something like that. But, no, I want to say, if you have the free time, well, it's kind of, my thought is, lots of people who play games or people who play games a lot obviously have lots of free time where maybe they don't have a partner or kids to take care of because, hey, otherwise you wouldn't have these massive blocks of free time. So I'm kind of stumped, like, people who would play this probably have those blocks of free time. But if you do have those blocks of free time, why would you not play with people?
Yeah, right.
I mean, and that's not, sure, some people can't, which you could play like voice over IP or all these kind of like Skype things, which is a great alternative. I still prefer face-to-face role-playing. But this kind of seems like not another step down, but kind of like there are other things you could do with that free time rather than playing a solo game. Yeah. And I don't really know how Alexa works, but I mean, could you play this while you're cleaning your apartment or doing dishes or something like that? Maybe then, like the way I listen to audiobooks or did before I had to have earbuds out because I have a small person who gets in all kinds of mischief. I see that filling this role.
Yeah, so this is hands-free tabletop gaming.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. No, that makes sense. I'm really curious to see how they're going to price these the following adventures.
Good question, especially without knowing what kind of replay value they have.
Right. Yeah, because if it was just a couple of dollars, it's like, $2.99 or whatever, and it's just a little piece. It's like, why not?
Yeah, why not?
And then if you get caught up or enjoying like what's happening to your character, I'll just do the next one, or I'll keep going. If it's going to be like $19.99 for that, it's like I don't. Am I ever going to do this? Will I ever finish this? Yeah. So, but Paizo has already with Pathfinder, they pursued audiobooks. They did a kind of audio drama series with their iconic characters from Pathfinder. So I think this is just kind of trying to help reinforce the popularity of Starfinder, which is actually doing better or has more interest than Pathfinder 2nd Edition.
So, really? Yeah. Oh, interesting. Okay.
So people, really embraced Starfinder, and this might be a good way to get it into more people's homes.
Yeah, true. Well, I was thinking like Pathfinder 2 is much more recent than Starfinder, so maybe there just hasn't been enough time for the popularity to be embraced.
And I think the people that are entrenched in original Pathfinder, just like the people that stuck with 3.5, like they are not going to make that jump. It's going to have to be a real big motivation, and everything has to be compatible, backwards compatible.
I mean, as long as it's not a giant departure the way 4E was from 3.5 in terms of D&D, I kind of see more people going over to the Pathfinder 2E than sticking with Pathfinder 1. But that's just complete speculation on my point.
We'll see if we ever even hear about this again. So it launches December 16th, and I think everybody that initially bought Alexa-powered devices basically threw them out when they realized that they're recording everything all the time.
Yeah.
And it's funny in the light of this recent scandal with
the Ring cameras?
I guess less recent.
Okay.
but wired devices in general. YouTube just they got caught marketing to under 12 and under. And basically, what is Amazon doing? They're collecting data on everyone in your household by constantly recording everything they say. So they're collecting marketing data on 12 and under. When is the FTC going to go after that? And maybe they don't have any authority over speakers that talk. It is marketing data that's being collected. So I think everybody that initially bought those and said, I don't like this microphone in my house. So go into your closet, dig out your Alexa powered device, plug it in. I don't know. And it seems like so many things for these devices are just, little proof of concept or little experiments or little kind of play things and nothing very serious. I mean, I don't see this as a killer app. It could be. I mean,
it could be.
Yeah. But I see it as just another little thing they're trying, whereas they have this platform and they're just not seriously developing.
I guess on the flip side of that, in general, don't we, and I mean the royal we, kind of talk about how studios and games, at least mainstream ones, aren't really taking risks and kind of doing the same thing over and again. Wouldn't you have to do like a test market like this rather than commit to something that completely bombs and then end up being bankrupt? We're just like, okay, we're going to try this. It's going to be fairly minimal in scope. Oh, that didn't work. Sorry, let's move on to something else.
Yeah, that's true. I was meaning the Amazon, the platform, the Alexa Echo platform in general is just like they don't seem to be taking it all that seriously and basically putting like little gimmicky toy type things, like you can ask it questions and you can
meaning of life, let's give you the answer at 42.
Right, doing things like that. Basically all they just want, just keep that microphone on, and it's so obvious that they're not supporting this as an actual platform for something. So it's interesting to see they're trying to do something tabletop based and that they partnered with Paizo as opposed to D&D. That's a funny.
Maybe D&D like wanted too much.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that we would be paying $59.99.
Yeah.
Ouch. Yeah. And when I first read it, I'm like, wait, is it April? No, okay. It seemed like when it's just like that is an odd thing, but yeah,
that might be good. Who knows?
Another actually not so upcoming release.
Okay.
In the distant future, upcoming release is
How distant? Like Warhammer 40K distant? Or?
not as bad as not as bad as the Warhammer Fantasy Revival, but it's Werewolf: The Apocalypse. 5th edition is coming out 2021. They're predicting. So I guess that's only a year and so away in about 2 weeks. Let me see. Hunter's Entertainment, who I guess does Kids on Bikes, Outbreak, Undead, and Altered Carbon, is going to partner with Paradox, who has the rights to everything.
Yep.
They're going to do 5e of Werewolf 5th edition.
I'm kind of surprised that, or not surprised, but I mean, it's notable that they're not going with Onyx Path. Because Onyx Path has been the publisher for World of Darkness stuff since at least Vampire Requiem. And I think they did Vampire 5th edition. It's all kinds of complicated about who owns what in terms of like White Wolf, Paradox, and Onyx Path. And I don't think Onyx Path owned anything. I think they just kind of like licensed stuff and did most of the bulk of the printing or development recently. So, I mean, it's not a huge surprise, but notable that, you're not going with Onyx Path. You're going with someone else.
Yeah. And so it's funny that different studios are doing different parts of this same world. This, 2021, the new edition is coming, and they say mechanically it's going to share the same, going to have a lot of similarities with the recent Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition, but it'll have its own unique elements. I thought it was funny, though, that they made this announcement when we just saw Greta Thunberg's Person of the Year on Time Magazine. So it's Echo Warrior Werewolf.
Oh, right. I was frowning and waiting for the connection there. I'm like, oh, right, because after a certain point, Werewolf became eco-terrorist. Right.
So she possibly may be a lycanthrope. We don't know at this point. With
That'd
that
be
hair,
cool,
that hair though, yeah. But so if they're still writing this, maybe she's going to get there'll be some very wise.
If they're still writing this, I mean, before the planet collapses?
Right. There'll be a very wise girl. Yeah, actually, they should hurry up because if the planet is collapsing, we're not going to get to play this.
Because that's the important thing there.
So
I want to play my werewolf before the planet collapses.
So have you played Werewolf in previous editions?
I've not.
Okay.
The only thing I've played /run for the old one is Vampire Requiem, which I think was 2nd edition, and Changeling the Lost. Though I had the Werewolf the Forsaken, I think, book. After playing in Vampire with Lyle and Chris, I picked up Changeling the Lost, Vampire the Requiem, Werewolf the Forsaken. And my brother grabbed Werewolf the Forsaken from me first, so I didn't get a chance to read it, and I started reading Changeling and liked that a lot better.
Oh, nice.
I mean, not that it's saying that I didn't like Werewolf, but I just happened to I wasn't expecting to like this as much as I did. Let's start with this rather than Werewolf.
What have you been up to this week?
Well, I have problems.
Oh, no.
Not only did I just buy a new notebook despite having a shelf full of unfilled notebooks to start writing alien ideas, going off of that Werewolf thing, I've been listening to another horrible audiobook called Star Justice, Eye of the Tiger, which is about a space marine were-tiger who rescues a psychic vampire lady from some kind of megacorp, and it's by the same person who wrote Tamer and is just as bad.
Whoa. He's got some depth. His talent is deep and wide.
We're up to about 2 sheets of paper in terms of depth now.
Wow. Well, that title had me. That was already. I'm right there. I mean, I was expecting to see that at a 80s drive-in. Yeah.
No way this author has not played riffs.
Yeah.
Because what else? And again, it was free, so I cannot complain about the price. But apart from that, I'm looking at more alien stuff.
Oh, okay.
Because started reading the core rule book, especially the campaign stuff and kind of like the world setting section. Maybe a topic for an upcoming cast or whatever. But I am not dissatisfied with what we got for campaign mode.
Oh, good.
But what we got for campaign mode is a lot of charts and tables and ways to generate adventure and kind of scenario ideas. We don't have a finished product of what Freya Ligon expects campaign scenario to be.
I see. Yeah.
Which I'm not saying you need one, and especially if you're an experienced GM, you could just say, great, okay, I can plan out this adventure based on these ideas I've generated and whatnot. But I think those sample adventures, especially if they're written by the authors of the game, show you what the authors intend for players to do in the game and kind of the tone of stuff and how they expect stuff to be structured. And so, like I said, I'm not disappointed or surprised that we don't have one because the book is already massive.
Right.
I'm just saying I want to know what one looks like. Because without that, what you've given us is a decent toolbox or box of Legos, and we can build something. You just haven't really given us instructions on what you kind of expect it to look like.
Yeah, I hope like their other systems, there's going to be follow through, because like Coriolis or some of their other settings that were original properties and original rules, they did that. They just kind of, okay, in here, if you want to do campaign, this would be a start. This would be, here's a starting adventure, and here is some, kind of hooks and things to continue in a campaign. And then books came out later to kind of do that. So I guess it's probably going to be based on popularity and how long they've got the license for.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
Yeah. So I'm sure we'll see some more books, because this game seems to be getting a lot of attention. I haven't followed up on any of the other reviews. I'm trying to stay clean for our review of
rather
it.
than get tainted by other people. Right.
But it seems the consensus seems pretty positive, and there's press about it just based on headlines. But yeah, we'll see how it gets supported and what they are thinking as far as campaign, because I think,
Yeah, I've heard rumors that the first expansion book or to be released is going to be focused around colonial marines, which I'm not all that interested in military campaigns. I get the sense, and maybe unfairly so, that most people, or a bulk of people who want to play, want to be the kick-ass marines fighting xenomorphs rather than kind of like the helpless colonists and space truckers who are just going to get eaten.
That's very different horror too.
Yeah, it is.
When you're, But I guess with their consumables, with the ammo mechanics and things, you aren't as competent as, I guess you're as competent as the aliens Marines that got wailed on pretty fast when,
they did.
when they had to take all the ammunition out of their weapons.
It's funny. I joined the Free League forums, the Free League forums, just for the alien stuff. And one of the GM-only things, they were saying their characters, the player characters, were regularly taking down xenomorphs.
Oh, wow.
And there was a discussion about, okay, like mechanically, sure, like sometimes the dice get lucky. And think about our game, like acid splash can just straight up kill someone, especially based on how hard you hit the alien. But then, so mechanically there was stuff the person could do, but then I won't say that their players were metagaming, but someone would kind of like charge in, tie up the alien in close combat, and then the other characters would surround it and kind of shoot it. And with lucky dice rolls and stuff, you could take it down. And like a couple people were saying, well, we're not saying your players are doing it wrong, but it's an alien, and kind of surrounding it and just kind of treating it like any other enemy kind of seems like you're not playing the spirit of the game. And that's not saying player characters should completely be terrified and constantly run away, but there's got to be kind of something.
Yeah. And it seems like the GM could, using the stress mechanic, try to make things a little bit more difficult. Like the first time they see acid just dissolve somebody's limb off, everybody should just be like, okay, what are you fighting?
Which happened in our game.
Speaking of our game, so we had a session. So we had a 4-player. You were in a 4-player session of Hope's Last Day.
Yep.
And so that is the adventure included. Kind of is that the smaller size version included in the back of the core book?
Yep. The cinematic scenario, which much like Chariot of the Gods, you get 5 pre-generated characters, kind of the setup and one agenda for each character. And like we discussed last time, it's clearly stated this is a sample of an Act 3. So you don't get Act 2 and 1.
Right.
But I tried to extend it to an Act 2 only because, like I said last time, I felt the Act 3 agendas pushed you right into the kind of what I felt was the end zone, and I wanted players to kind of explore a bit more rather than going right for the finish.
Right.
As you're the only one here who's played that, how do you think that worked?
Oh, I think it worked fine. I really appreciate, unlike myself, when running a cinematic one-shot, you were able to distill it down to get us into the action, stop us from wandering around too much, and get us to like when things were going to be happening. And I think that's a difficulty in this, because you want kind of people to explore and it to feel open, but then you've got 4 sessions, a one-shot that lasts 4 sessions.
To be fair, where we started was where they say you start. Like walking into that west airlock and just, okay, do it. Also, I've noticed our group tends to argue. So not most of it, but there were times I'm just like, I'm going to wait until the players come to a consensus about where exactly they are going, so I don't say what happened.
Right. That was the thing, choosing the characters just based on their role and name, like using the name tags. I was like, okay, I'm choosing the talky character, and I know from this group I'm not the talkiest person here, so I don't think I'm actually going to be doing much.
John said something interesting when we were playing, and it kind of reminds me of picking the character just on name tag and kind of not even looking at the character sheet. You can't go into an alien cinematic game with much of a character concept or character idea, because the agendas you are given might go directly against the idea you had. So you kind of have to go in there with just, I'm going to play the character that I'm given or that I'm picked.
Right, and they're basically telling you who you're going to butt heads with and things. And that was a little funny because it was players that I thought would be fun to play with. I was like, oh, they all hate me because I basically got the leader social role that everyone had a grudge against. Yeah,
yeah, true.
But that character quickly passed away.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's why I wanted to try and extend things because, like I said, I think xenomorphs are really dangerous. Where like I do like the little kind of AI, okay, die roll to see what happens and what the thing does. And I'm like, when it got to your character, I'm just like, oh, the head bite one, where if even a single point of damage gets through this, character's done.
Yes.
And these characters have no armor whatsoever. So let's go.
Right. Yeah, that was the thing I completely forgot that I think we figured out in the first cinematic is just pick something up. Just pick up a wrench, pick up anything, because if you're armed, then you can roll something in melee. Otherwise, you just take whatever attack.
Or you can try and block.
Coming right. Yeah. Blocking. You can try to block with something.
Yes. Yeah.
But if you're totally unarmed, you're just like you just wave at the incoming attack. And
that's a couple, like 2 games now where it's funny. Again, John said our characters have no reason to sneak around. But I think the scenario assumes that you're going to be doing stealth mode for a while.
Yeah. I think both of those I were definitely assuming that, and how the mechanics worked and how you're supposed to be tracking, where the aliens were, and we didn't do it either time. Yeah.
But again, like why I would want to make an Act 2 and an Act 1 for that Hope's Last Day is characters kind of don't really know what's going on. And so like John said, there is no reason to sneak around. Just let's just try and get from point A to point B as quickly as possible, and that means you're going to have xenomorphs on you almost like right from the get-go and no time to explore, which is why I kind of felt the agendas the players got were a bit at odds with the statement of let them explore freely, where I'm just like, that's not going to happen unless they know to sneak around.
Right.
That's not going to happen. And unless and until they've seen like a xenomorph, they're not going to sneak around. But when they do see a xenomorph, and if the xenomorph sees them, game over, man. Because it's like, unless you like somehow escape it, you're probably dead.
Yeah, it's an odd, because I guess you really do have to, as the game master, say, okay, something really seriously horrible has happened. Enter, proceed with care, proceed with caution. Yeah, our group is just like, okay, intercom, hey guys, what's going on?
Yeah, Alan's character testing out every intercom, calling to every other intercom point, being like, can I get an answer? Can I get an answer? Can I answer? Guess the colony's deserted. I'm like, yeah, you think?
But it was fun. And so in that cinematic starter system, when your character dies, if there's any available NPCs, you can, instead of just sitting out, you can take over the NPC. And unfortunately, I saw the agenda of, company agent. No information about what's happened here leaves. Okay, let's see how's this gonna work. Yeah,
I think that's why it was good. We had like 4 players and there's like 5 characters because and like we were discussing before, your character died, and I think Lee's character could have died. And actually, I did the acid rolls a little bit wrong. Like if the acid splash kills someone or breaks them, you have to make those death rolls. You keep making death rolls and acid also works like fire, where like if it hasn't killed you that first round, like the intensity I think decreases a little bit, and like if there's no damage, then it burned itself out. But if it does damage, you kind of keep rolling turn after turn. If your character hadn't died, that's kind of why I said, okay, Lee's character's going to get back up, so I don't have 2 players sitting out. And then I said, okay, and here's the extra character, which is why one of the xenomorphs went for like an NPC, and the 2 of you kind of like woke back up. So I'm like, even though I said this was deadly, it's no fun to have like half the group sit out even for like an hour or however much longer this game goes.
Right.
So.
Yeah, and compared to the Chariot of the Gods, there's many fewer NPCs and many fewer chances to introduce. Yeah. Yep. So when you're out, you're out.
Spoilers, pretty much all the NPCs you encounter have been face hugged. So you're not going to be interacting with them for all that long.
Yeah, your agenda is just, you feel a strange pressure in your chest.
Actually, I wonder if that would be interesting to play, because Chariot of the Gods had the abomination agendas that didn't come into play because no one got infected, but they're interesting to have.
Yeah.
But I mean, that one kind of turns you into a monster where you want to, kill people, as opposed to just saying your agenda is die.
Right. I definitely felt it was a bit deadlier when we're dealing with xenomorphs instead of the neomorphs. Yeah.
Also, you have like pretty much no equipment.
Yes. Yeah. Right. Yeah. We didn't go in with. There were like 2.
Yeah. So like a service pistol and the bolt gun.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
Which means you got to get close, which is an excellent idea when fighting xenomorphs. Yeah.
Nice. No, but it was really fun. And I liked how it happened in one session. That was great. That felt much better because I think that was our criticism of the first one. When it got extended too long, you're like, okay, we got to go back into this antagonistic situation. You got to kind of get back to like, okay, where are all of our characters, like suspecting and or frustrated with their stress rolls, having the showing the symptoms of stress and terror kind of get you frustrated and kind of angry at other characters for trying to do things and failing. And when you leave the session and come back, you're like, oh.
Yeah, what was going on? Yeah. Right. That's something I took up from the previous 2 sessions that we ran, where if someone got a panic roll or if someone got broken and had to make a critical injury, I had them either roll on the table before I described what happened.
Yes.
Because thinking about what happened with John's character in Chariot of the Gods, okay, you get stabbed in the shoulder by a neomorph tail, and your critical roll is shattered kneecap?
Right.
How does that work? So, like, the reason Lee's character's leg got burned off is like, okay, you got broken, roll on that table, oh, shattered kneecap, that's where the acid hits you.
Right.
I think that's a much better way of doing it. Yeah. Or like the panic thing, like, okay, what's the panic effect? How do we work that into what just happened instead of kind of resolving it and then checking the table?
I think that's really good because it keeps you in the narrative and makes you feel like it actually happened instead of, oh, damage to left elbow.
Yeah.
A quick Kickstarter that I just wanted to mention that's not really worth mentioning. So Cool Mini or Not abbreviated themselves and people were pronouncing it Cbon. And I think because of its sounding like ejaculate, they said, let's reinforce the different pronunciation of come on, because it's supposed to be like, come on. And that's what I have to say to this company. Come on. Seriously. All right. We're doing, I think it's an 8-day Kickstarter for a Night of the Living Dead Zombicide mechanic game. Yeah, Zombicide is their tile-based, zombie killing game, and they've done several. They have the Black Plague or Black Death, which is a fantasy setting for that, and then there's a contemporary kind of, Walking Dead kind of setting. And so they give you all of the characters from that movie, and the cards are 2-sided. One side is black and white, which is the Romero version, and the other side is the Zombicide version. So people are more deadly, more competent, or have weapons in the Zombicide version because you have to be fighting. But it's just, I love that movie, and I loved actually seeing miniatures based on the characters from that movie. But the game itself, I'm like, really?
Doesn't fit?
Well, it does. It fits okay, but it's like, do you have to really do this? And do you have to really go to Kickstarter for this? Because Kickstarter is not a pre-order system. But, when you run these short Kickstarters, you're using it as a pre-order system.
Right.
The price is, it's like $80. It's like, yeah. And it's the same thing they've been doing. And I guess if you're a big Zombicide fan, this is another little flavor. So you can play fantasy. And I think they did an alien version too, like a sci-fi alien zombie version. But the funny thing of them choosing this property is that, the history of Night of the Living Dead. So Night of the Living Dead, from its original screening, was a public domain film.
Oh, really?
Because they screwed up. Because all you had to do after a certain date, after the change in copyright law, all you had to do is put a copyright notice on whatever you're producing, and you're protected. And they originally called the movie Night of the Flesh Eaters. And at the last minute, there was another film with a very similar name. And so we have to change it. So they changed it to Night of the Living Dead. The title card was changed. The copyright notice was not included in the new title card. Therefore, it was never.
So technically, it's
never
public
defended.
domain. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why when you watch an old, or any kind of cheap horror movie, if the teenagers are sitting on the sofa watching television, they're watching Night of the Living Dead because you can always run
use
that.
it. Okay.
And it's a tribute to, we're part of this great tradition. But the other thing about the property that's funny is it did kind of create the contemporary image of zombies, but they never referred to them as zombies. Even the creators called them ghouls. They cast
interesting.
ghouls.
Okay.
So they're not thinking of them as zombies. They're just thinking of them as flesh-eating maniacs. And, the idea of a ghoul worked much better. So it's funny, we're like, this is the classic zombie movie. Well, yeah, it created all of the tropes, the shoot him in the head and moving slowly and rising, wearing whatever you were wearing when you died, and you're kind of coming at people. So it's funny that Zombicide is embracing this and paid for this license, I hope.
Well, if it's public domain, maybe not.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm curious. I should look at the notices to see if they did license it from if there's a trust or foundation or somebody that's managing this, because that means the movie itself, anybody can play that, and no one can stop you from playing that film. But that actually I'm not sure if that's still the case, because I think somebody can actually pay to start enforcing that again at a certain point. But yeah, I think it's funny that they decided to do this, and come on. So they name themselves appropriately. A quick comment that we got that I just appreciated people notice, like a little bit of what we're about. A comment that we got on our short format video review of the Star Trek role-playing game is, it's good to hear a perspective about this game from people who aren't totally versed superfans. So more information on the mechanics than the lore. And I'm glad somebody noticed that, because we did kind of preface by saying, we're not super fans. We're not
Trekkies.
We're not playing this because we're so obsessed with this property. But we did notice how well the system fit this setting, and really enjoyed that aspect. So that made me feel good that people actually noticing what we're doing. And I think YouTube is fueled by psychotic fans. Really
much like Space Marine Weretigers, fueled by rage.
Yes, very. Very rabid fans. And it's nice that people aren't offended by that, that people are like, oh yeah, there is a place for that. And it's good. You were kind of clearly looking at something that maybe anybody else that was obsessed with that property would have said, this is wrong, or I love this, I love this blindly. Yeah, so that was Simmons 8519, who's written a couple of nice comments. Yeah, please keep watching.
Those are the comments we like.
Yes.
The nice ones.
Yeah, definitely. Constructive. Constructive comments are always wonderful. Okay, so where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter, as always, at Hivemind, HYVEMYND, where I'm posting a lot of alien GIFs.
Ah, nice. You're getting deep into the lore.
Yeah, like I said, trying to write another cinematic scenario and trying to dig up maps for it. And this is why I generally don't run established IP games, because I get a little too obsessed with making sure things are right. And it's just easier for me to go, something brand new, so I don't have to worry about it. Because now I'm trying to dig up maps of the penal colony on Fury 161.
Nice. Yeah, that's true. And alien lore is kind of messy, so that's good luck with that.
Yeah, thanks. So how about you?
I do a weekly live stream of my cartoon. So abusecartoons.com is the website, and that live stream is on Twitch and YouTube every Sunday night, North American time, Monday afternoon in Japan. You can follow that on Twitter at abusecartoons, and the archive of those cartoons, so 10 years of that, is gocomics.com/domestic abuse. And if you'd like to get in touch with Idle Red Hands, idleredhands.com is the website. So downloads, all of our videos, and the podcast reside there. You can follow Idle Red Hands on Twitter and Instagram, and also the YouTube channel. Yeah, YouTube and Twitch both have channels where we live stream when we're recording, and then we also archive things that we've done. And if you'd like to support the podcast, get involved, and see more of what you want, please visit patreon.com/idleredhands.
I'm real scared to know what people actually want to see.
I think it's a lot of nudity. All right. That's it for this week. We'll see you next week.
Later, mortals.
Alexa, play Starfinder.
On and on, some Sunday